everybody. I hope you guys are doing great and having a good week. This week we are going to talk about lessons 37 through 40. So let's get started. This week you're going to need your lessons manual, the student worksheets, the math card games manual with the game cards, the AL abacus, the centimeter cubes, which look like this, the dry erase board, and the color tiles, which are these. This week, we will continue to work on multiplication using arrays and areas. We will also be doing some review of what has been learned up to this date to prepare your child for the assessment next week. Go ahead and open up to lesson 37. The first thing you're going to do, obviously, is the warm-up. If your child struggles with some of these concepts, you'll want to review the lesson that covers that material. So if your child struggles with, in the first section, the multiples of 5, you're going to want to go back to lesson 36 to review the multiples of 5. If your child struggles with the mental addition in that second paragraph of the warm-up, go back to lesson 21 to find the review for that. If your child struggles with place value questions, you can go back to lesson 4 and review that information. Once you complete the warm-up section, you will continue to work with arrays. In this lesson, you will build area using centimeter cubes, and this is what a centimeter cube looks like. Your child will build a 3x3 array and a 4x2 array. You will follow up their building of these arrays by asking a few questions. And one of the questions you're going to ask is, which array takes up more space? Your child can determine that by finding out which array has more cubes in it. They will discover that you can multiply the side times a side to get the number of centimeter cubes in the array. For example, the array of 3x3 has 9 cubes in it. So they will find out that 3 times 3 equals 9. The 4x2 array has 8 cubes in it, which is 4 times 2 equals 8. Then you will get the student worksheet books out and look at problem 1 together. You will look at rectangles A and B, and then your child will also use the centimeter cubes and place as many centimeter cubes in these rectangles to find out the area. To see what it looks like, you can look at the top of the second page of the lesson. Again, you will ask your child which array is larger. And again, they can determine which array is larger by finding out how many centimeter cubes are in it. So the 3x5 array will have 15 cubes in it, and the 4x4 array, rectangle B, will have 16 cubes in it. So rectangle B is larger. The next section is centimeters, and this is where you will actually be calculating perimeter. Although we are not using the term yet of perimeter, that's not going to be introduced until the next lesson, but you will be calculating what the perimeter is, and a perimeter is just basically the measurement around an object. So we're going to use centimeter cubes, and we're going to measure the distance around the centimeter cubes, and you know that each side is 1 centimeter, so we're going to count this up. 1 centimeter, 2, 3, and 4. So 1 centimeter cube has a perimeter of 4 centimeters. Now the second example is with 2 centimeters. And this is where you're having 2 centimeters put together. And you know that the top now has a width of 2 and the bottom has a width of 2. So 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 1 more is 5, plus 1 more is 6. So when you have 2 centimeter cubes squished together, you have a perimeter of 6 centimeters. Now, for problem 2 on the worksheet, you're going to have your child write the equation for the measurement around rectangle A from the worksheet. And because rectangle A has 3 centimeters on the bottom and on the top, and then 5 centimeters on each side, you're going to calculate the measurement by saying 5 plus 3 plus 5 plus 3. Now those numbers can be in any order. You don't have to necessarily put it in that specific order. If your child puts it 3 plus 3 plus 5 plus 5, that's just fine. They will still get to the same answer. You're going to do the same thing for rectangle B. Except because this is a square, each of the sides is 4 centimeters. So they're going to be 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. Now, if you have an advanced child, they may say 4 times 4, which is perfectly fine. And in fact, if you do have an advanced child, you may want to encourage them thinking in those terms, in terms of multiplication. Your child will then complete the rest of the problems on the worksheet, problems 3 through 5, where they will find both the area and the distance around the shapes. There is also not a math card game listed for this lesson. So you may want to play a multiplication math card game because you've been working on area. However, if your child struggled with the addition facts in the warm-up section for this lesson, you will probably want to add an addition math card game as well. All right, well, let's go ahead and turn to lesson 38. In the warm-up section, you can have your child use the abacus when they're working on their multiples, since the multiplication math facts are still very new. Take a look at this section called inches. In this section, you're going to give your child the inch tiles and have them specifically look at the measurements of the sides and tell them that each side is 1 inch. So 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, and 1 inch. Then you're going to explain to your child about perimeter. There is a helpful diagram at the bottom of the first page under the explanation section that might help your child remember what perimeter is. My kids, or most of my kids, struggle with remembering the difference between area and perimeter. So this diagram helped on a couple of my kids. I might also explain to my kids what perimeter was by breaking down the word. Peri itself means around, and meter means to measure. So perimeter means to measure around, and that seemed to help my other kids as well. You're going to do the examples as provided in the middle of the first page of the lesson. Once your child has determined the perimeter of these arrays that they're going to build, you're going to work with your child through some of the problems on the worksheet. Worksheet 17 is similar to the worksheet given in lesson 37. You're going to fill in the rectangles F and G with the colored tiles and not the centimeter cubes. So when they answer the problems for perimeter and area, they're going to say and write those answers in inches. Now, when we're calculating perimeter, because it's pretty much just one straight line, we answer those in flat out inches. So for rectangle F, it's 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, which equals 8 inches. They're going to say the answer and write the answer down, 8 inches. Now in problems 3 and 4, we're actually calculating area. So there we are going to have 2 by 2, or 2 times 2, which is 4 square inches. And the difference is one is referring to perimeter, which is like basically one line, but it's around, but one line, or the area inside an object, and that is listed as square inches. Now that term square inch and square centimeters are temporary terms to help your child understand the area a little better. The standard way of saying it though is inches squared and centimeters squared, and that will be introduced later on. Have your child complete the rest of the worksheet, problems 5 through 8, on their own, and then discuss their answers together. Make sure they're writing the correct measurements. It's either centimeters or square centimeters. Centimeters is used for perimeter, and square centimeters is used for area. Just a reminder for this lesson, perimeter is measurement around an object, and area is what's inside the shape. There is not a math card game listed for this lesson, so you're going to want to pick a game based on your child's struggle, either addition or multiplication, or maybe a game for both. Turn to lesson 39. We are coming up on the first assessment of the year. This lesson will actually help you to know what you need to review with your child to prepare them for the assessment. You'll want to give them this worksheet when your child has a fresh mind, and then have them complete the worksheet. Then when they're done, you're going to go over the answers with them. Based on the outcome of this worksheet, you're going to want to review material from one or more lessons that you have previously covered. So here's a list of the lessons that covered specific material that is on that worksheet review, so you know what lessons you can review to help your child on their assessment. If your child missed the first problem, 6 plus 9, then you may want to play a math card game to help them with their math facts. One game might be Addition War, which will cover a number of math facts to make sure they're good on those. If your child missed one of the problems, 53 plus 9 or 87 plus 3, and you think that there's a struggle there, you can either play some math card games to strengthen their math facts if that was their struggle, or you can review lessons 20 and 21 to review how they do mental math. For problems like 87 plus 25 plus 3, you can review lesson 22. For the problem 5 by 2 or 5 times 2, take a look at lessons 32 and 33. If your child missed 6 times 1 and you want to review that, you can look at lesson 24. For the multi-digit addition problem, you can review lessons 27, 28, 29, and 30. If your child struggled with perimeter and area, you can look at lessons 37 and 38. If your child struggled with place value or place value problems listed on the worksheet, you can review lesson 24. If your child struggled with the comparison problems, you can look at lessons 26, 34, and or 38. For the array question, you can review lessons 33, 37, and 38. If your child struggled with the question that worked with standard form, take a look at lessons 24 and 30. And for the final question, if they struggled with that, you can review lesson 30. There is not a math card game listed for this lesson. So if your child struggled with any of these problems, have them explain to you what they did to solve the problem. That will help you determine what their struggle is. Was it a calculation error, or did they not understand the process? For problems where they did not understand the process, you'll definitely want to go back and review the lessons that covered that process or processes if your child missed more than one section. If your child struggled with the arithmetic, then you're going to want to play some math card games to help them strengthen up those facts. You're also going to want to help your child understand the importance of accuracy if they struggled with their accuracy on their worksheet. Tell them, in order to be more accurate, they're going to want to double check their arithmetic or processes before saying, I'm done with my worksheet. Have them go back and review what they've done and make sure those calculations are as correct as they can be. All right, well, let's go ahead and turn to lesson 40. It is very important to keep your child up on their math facts. The way to do that is to play plenty of math card games, and that's why I'm always emphasizing them at the end of every single lesson. Lesson 40, this lesson is designated to review your child's math facts. It will help you see what your child is retaining and maybe some math facts that they have forgotten along the way. You're not going to know what math facts they're struggling on or forgotten if you don't play those math card games. You're going to want to spend about 5 or 10 minutes on each game. The first game listed in lesson 40 is the column addition game, which is A64. You played this game back in lesson 31. The next game is the Corners Plus game. It's a variation of the Corners game A9, and this game you played in lessons 25 and 30. The next game is the Multiples Memory game, P2, and this game has a blog with it and was also played in lesson 36. The final game for lesson 40 is Sum Rummy, which also has a blog for it again and was again played in lesson 34. So for your last day of the week, I do encourage you to review lessons that your child might have struggled with or play extra math card games so that you're preparing them as best as they can for the assessment that will be taken next week. Well, that's it for the week. As always, if you have any questions or concerns about a lesson, or if your child is struggling with something, give us a call or email us. We are here to help you. Have a fabulous week, everybody. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week when we go over lessons 41 through 44. Have a great day.